Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be discussing the state of ports on the Switch. But before I do that, consider subscribing for more content like this. Now, before I get into this, I don't want you guys to think that I'm spreading gloom and doom about the ports that are on the Switch. Some of them are in fact fascinatingly amazing. You've got companies like Bethesda releasing games like Doom and Wolfenstein that are technical marvels on the Switch, whilst also releasing games like Skyrim, which is a much older game, so comparably not as impressive. Now, transitioning games like Wolfenstein to the Switch is a hard process, requiring multiple studios to get involved. So I thank you and I commend you for putting these beautiful experiences, albeit not quite as good as the competing systems. Still, there's something charming about being able to play these games in handheld. Now let's switch our focus over to a company like Capcom, which is a company I used to hold in very high regard. They've been releasing a ton of games. The support on the Switch is fantastic. I'm not going to deny that, but it's the quality, the attention to quality that bothers me the most. I've bought so many Capcom games on the Switch, some of which I would say are actually way more expensive than they should have been in the end. A game like Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate should have been $49.99. It shouldn't have been a full-priced, AAA game. It's been out for a while on the 3DS, and all you guys did was smooth it out. But my biggest complaint with Capcom has to do with their most recent releases of Resident Evil 0, 1, 4, 5, and 6, soon to come. But I bought 4. Now, I had been hesitating to buy 4 because I saw the price tag. Each one of these games has a $29.99 price tag. On competing systems, these games started at $19.99. What is the purpose of that $10 extra charge? I don't get it. Because I understand that the cartridges of the Switch are expensive. They haven't quite gotten to that place that they're affordable for companies to get into. An 8 gig card is as expensive as a PS4 disc. That's what I've heard. I don't know if it's still the same. It may have changed by now. Maybe by next year when they introduce the 64 gigabyte card, this will change. But the thing is I understand when third-party developers can't get on board with those because they are expensive. And so a lot of third-party developers will release it solely on the eShop, or they'll do what I absolutely hate and release it on a lesser card and have you download the rest. Why? Just release it on the eShop. I mean, I know people like their physicals, but if this is what the state of physical copies is going to be, I'd rather have none of it. That's just a waste of freaking plastic. Why would you do that? And the thing is with all these Resident Evil games, they don't even have a physical release. So that additional $10 that we're paying on each one of those games is unnecessary, unneeded, unmerited. Why are you doing it, Capcom? It seems kind of like you're being crooks. The only reason I bought Resident Evil 4 was because it was on sale for the price it's meant to be, and I know that on the Wii U eShop, the Wii version of Resident Evil 4 was $20. So you know what? This one is definitely in some ways worth more because it looks better. But the motion controls, I miss those. Maybe if you'd put those in, I would have been willing to pay the additional $10, albeit begrudgingly, but you might have had more of a reason from me. But it doesn't even seem like the core game's graphics line up with the PS4's, unless you guys did that little to enhance the original game. But some of the textures I see in the Switch version are abysmal. You look on one corner and this texture looks nice. It suits its purpose. The bricks look nice. And then you look over at this brick wall and it looks like a texture from the original PlayStation. Like, what the hell? I don't get it. And if it is in fact the case that you lessen the graphics, this is going to lead into my next point. Why? It's a GameCube game. This is a Nintendo Switch. This is an enhanced version, but there's no universe where the enhancements are so great that the Switch couldn't handle them. I can't get on board with that mentality. Another recent release from Night Dive Studios is Turok 1 and 2. I've had Turok 1 for a little while now, a couple months, and they just released Turok 2. So happy because Turok 2 changed my life when it came to first-person shooters and what I should expect from them. In fact, I could say that about a lot of shooters on the 64. There was just nothing on any other console quite like it, other than Half-Life on PC, you know? Just the amount of detail they put into like animations in certain first-person shooters like GoldenEye and Perfect Dark and even Turok 2. Just the way bullets affected them, and you know, the way they would interact with the environment, and the AI would be evasive. Like, it was just really cool. But you know, in building up to getting Turok and Turok 2 on the Switch, I did a lot of research on this HD port. I saw the PC version. I saw what kind of awesome they had in both versions of the game. The original alone looked like a clean version of the 64, but it had incredible lighting. You'd get light shafts through trees, some bloom effects, you know, it was really nice. And then anywhere that there was water, you would get a subtle reflection. And in some areas, depending on how the lighting was around or what the surroundings were, you would get an even more potent reflection on the water. The Switch version doesn't have that. Moving on to Turok 2, same thing. A lot of great lighting improvements and the reflections on the water. Those are the main things that were changed, other than cleaning up the overall image. But nothing that they added to the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC version couldn't have been handled on the Switch. So I don't understand why we were given a diet version of the HD game when it can totally run on the Switch. I mean, at its core, it's a 64 game that you've just cleaned up. That is not going to cause the Switch to even break a sweat, even have a bead on its forehead. You add the lighting and the reflections, and you still got something that I feel doesn't even put it up to 40% of its potential, kind of thing. I wouldn't even say 20% of its potential. It's still a 64 game that you've added some nice things to. Lastly, I want to bring up a game that really hurt my soul. I can't remember the company that he's attached to now, but Koji Igarashi, the creator of Castlevania, which is one of my favorite franchises of all time, but he had these two beautiful games, Bloodstained Curse of the Moon and Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Totally inspired by Castlevania because he left Konami, so I was like really happy that some new Castlevania stuff was coming out, and not from some other person or some other company, but from the man himself. And I was looking forward to getting both on the Switch. I haven't gotten the first one, and I will be getting it at some point because that is one-to-one with the other versions, I'm pretty sure. But Ritual of the Night is a shade of what it is on the PS4. I don't understand why that needed to be. I think it's BS, to be honest. Such a beautiful game could have been amazing on the Switch, but it's not even like a technical mark of any kind. It's not incredibly fancy with its graphical style. It's more detailed than originally they had announced it to be, because they got so much hate on how it looked. Now, I don't know how much they changed it, but I've seen side-by-side pictures, and the amount of detail seems to be more apparent in the newer version. But the Switch version, I don't know. Like, I saw RGT85 play that game, and it looked disappointing. He was disappointed. I was disappointed for him. I was disappointed for myself. I don't get why it must be. When you consider all the other great achievements, look at The Witcher, it just came out. Oh my god, they've done incredible things there. But like, where's the disconnect there? Like, how are they able to put that on the system and then Turok gets dumbed down for the Switch? And it literally comes down to being lazy, wanting to get the absolute most money out of their product, especially with Capcom. Like, I'm furious about that. I've been wanting to do this video for a while because I've been furious from the moment they announced the Resident Evil series. I was so happy, and then I saw the price tag and I was like, what is going on? Like, it just doesn't make sense. On the PS4, I had the option to buy Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6 for $59.99. $20 a piece. That sounds like a lovely package right there. But all three of these, $90. No, not gonna happen. Nor am I pleased. And you guys should change your ways, because that's ridiculous. There is nothing that you can present as an argument as to why these games are more expensive on the Switch. Anyway, guys, let me know down in the comments below what you guys think of this situation and what you think of devs doing this kind of stuff. And be sure to stay tuned for my Turok 1 and 2 review, Seeds of a Dinosaur Hunter. Oh, that sounded horrible. I was trying to mix the subtitles for each of those games, and that did not work out. Anyway, you guys have a great day. Love you all, and I'll see you in the next video. You guys wouldn't believe in making the thumbnail that I discovered that there is in fact a physical copy of Resident Evil Triple Pack, which is the inclusion of Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6 on one cartridge. Unfortunately, you only get Resident Evil 4 and then 2 download codes, but it's $59.99. Whereas individually, they're $30. What the heck, Nintendo? I mean, you've allowed them to do this. I mean, it's out in the open, plain as day. Capcom, I have no faith. There's just none. Yeah, I'll continue to play your games, but this is unacceptable. All right, guys, I'm gonna go cry myself to sleep now.